All right, we're live. This is so exciting. Yay! We are here to talk about a recent milestone that I achieved this week. I saw my 500th live player musical since the pandemic, and it's kind of wild.
Rachel,
Yay!
I am so proud of you. Number one, like as a person who loves theater and does theater and knows how hard it was not to be able to do and see it during the pandemic, you made this goal for yourself and you have been such a supporter of the arts, and the fact that you have seen 500 shows, like I just want streamers and balloons, and I can't wait to see you in person so we can actually celebrate this properly. But
Yeah. Yay. And I guess I should start out by saying, if you're watching live, we have the chat room open. So definitely give your comments and your chat there. And I should introduce you. Jax is here with me. Thank you so much for doing this and taking time out of your day. I really appreciate it. And yeah, what the backstory, if y'all are new, is when theaters were closed down for the pandemic, it was very upsetting to me. I literally wept. And it was one of those things that I just never thought that could be taken from me.
no, and
I never it was shocking.
if you think about after the tragedy with 9/11, people flocked to the theater more in New York City to support the arts after that. So yeah, why would you ever think that would be taken from you? It's not even on.
Yeah, like it was definitely my cope, like to get through hard times was both the movie theaters and live theater, and I never thought either of them could be taken away from me. I mean, I remember when they first announced that the movie theaters were closing and they said that it was going to be 2 weeks. I was like, 2 weeks? I thought that was crazy. Like they're not going to keep it closed for 2 weeks. And then it was a couple months, and then it was I mean, I feel very fortunate to live in Utah on many levels, but one of the many levels is that we were a lot more aggressive and received a lot of slack, a lot of criticism for it, but we were a lot more aggressive as far as reopening and starting things than other places, and I'm so grateful for that. But for both live theater and movie theaters, they were a lot more aggressive than other places, and I feel very lucky for that. But just that it could even be taken away from me for a year was really shocking to me.
Yeah, and it's so, I think what was forgotten during that time is like, absolutely, we want to protect people and, not be spreading disease, but like the mental health of people.
Yeah.
And it's like by reopening these places, I really think it helped people's mental health in a tremendous way when we were able to actually get back to being with people again, or even like just knowing that the option is there, I think helps people.
Yeah, I was very fortunate in that I started my first return. So when the movie theaters were closed, I did go to, there were a couple makeshift drive-in movie theaters, which I will always be grateful for, and I went to those almost immediately, and that was an incredible work that those people did to help so many of us. And I remember going to see Jurassic Park, which is one of my favorite movies, to see Jurassic Park at a makeshift drive-in during that pandemic. And I think it had only been 2 months since since they had been closed, but even 2 months, and just like even though it only been 2 months, it was like just the trauma of having it taken was like, it was just horrible. It was a horrible thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I watched Jurassic Park and I just was literally weeping because it made me
thank you.
Because it made me so happy that, like, I don't know, it's just really important. And I think that I'm just so glad that there were people who were willing to take those risks and were willing to let us decide what risks that we wanted to take. I'm
Yeah.
just so grateful for that, and that I don't know that there are people who weren't going to be ruled by fear, and
Yeah.
so
Yeah. It's so, and gathering in community, like I think already in the US, we're a country that less so than other countries, we're less community focused. And I think that it was, people need other people, you know?
yeah.
And I think you're exactly right. Being able to decide for yourself when you're wanting to get back out there, what you're wanting to do is so important.
Yeah, and so I went back to the movie theaters. I did a whole video where I was going back to the movie theaters. I did that in June of 2020, and I got a lot of flack for that. But I just stood by it, and I
Yeah.
stand by it, and it was completely safe. And I've never gotten COVID. And I'm not saying that there's, whatever, but I'm just saying that I attended a lot of stuff,
Yeah.
and I was able to do it safely. And so I'm just I I'm I feel proud that
Yeah.
I'm proud of it all. I really am.
Well, you should be, because it's this thing of like, I think everyone thought it was sort of one size fits all. And I remember in October of 2020, my friend Zurin, she's lovely. We've talked about it on
Yeah.
the
Oh yeah.
podcast. Yeah, she's great. She had a birthday party. She invited 5 people, and no one could bring their significant others, and we all had to get tested before. And they rented a place where it was like an Airbnb that there was like a balcony so that we could have like airflow
Yeah.
and all that stuff, all masked up to get there, tested before, and we all got COVID. All 5 of us. And it was this thing, it was literally 5 people. And it's one of those things that like sometimes it was just going to come for you,
Yeah.
and
Absolutely.
you could do, like, I remember my family being like, oh my gosh, you were being so careful, and this is the first thing you did. And I was like, I know. And honestly, like at the end of the day, it's like we've all just kind of gotta, like you said, not live in
Yeah.
fear.
And I followed every single CDC guideline. Every single one. There was not when if there was distancing restrictions, I obeyed them. There was not a rule that I didn't follow. So yeah, I mean, and I was very fortunate, and knock on wood, that I won't get it. But I don't know. I just it was just such a horrible time, and I look back on it, and it was just awful, and I'm
Yeah.
just grateful that we're out of it, and grateful that I was able to do what I did. And anyway, to get back to like, so I started going back to movies very early on, as early as I could, and I'm grateful I live in a place where that was possible. But still, it took another year, so it wasn't 2020 until 2021 that I was able to go back to the theater, which was early compared to most places.
Yeah.
And I'm so grateful again to live here, and that was a possibility. But I got the vaccination in April of 2021, and at the time, again, I followed all the rules. At the time, they recommended waiting 2 weeks from your vaccination to go in public and things. And so that's what I did. And at the time, Hale Center Theater, which you've been to,
Yes.
in Sandy, they were still social distancing, as far as they weren't selling every seat. But they were back up and running. They did require masks at the time. They were following all the rules at the time. And so the very first show I saw back from the pandemic was Les Miserables at Hale Center Theater. And at the time, they were the only theater in the world putting on Les Miserables.
That's incredible.
Yeah, which is kind of
And
amazing.
for a show like that, it's like people are always doing Les Mis, but in that time, wow, that's incredible.
Yeah. And it was unbelievable, an incredible production. You didn't get to see the big main stage, which hopefully next time.
Which is crazy because it felt like such a main.
Yeah, but hopefully next time you get to. And it's a great organization. I love Hale, and they're kind of I think of them as sort of Utah's Disneyland, as far as the
Yes,
spectacle and the bigness of it
definitely.
all, and so to see Les Mis, which is my is you know was my show, the show that I grew up on, the show that I love so much, to see that as the first show back, I just always felt like was such a kismet and amazing.
Oh my gosh. And just like the beautiful, powerful of it being the only theater that's doing it. And it's also such
Yeah.
an epic show.
Yeah.
And just about people coming together. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's these sweeping ballads. I think that's so
It's
powerful.
true, and, like, standing up against, like, tyranny and,
Yeah.
you know, the that do you hear the people saying it just felt so
Oh,
resonant at that time.
yes.
So
Yes.
that so I was obviously very concerned about local theater, community theater, theater in general, the arts, that could be taken permanently away and that we might never recover. And that was my worry. And so I just made a goal to myself that I was going to try to go to at least 2 shows a week. That was good. Because before that, I would see like a dozen shows a year. I
Yeah,
was
which is good.
like a
I mean,
pretty
that's,
regular theater fan, but
yeah.
I wasn't certainly anything close to what I am now. And I was like a member of the Utah Theater Lovers on Facebook, and I would see all the things they were doing, which is an incredible group. You should join them. But I so I was a fan, but not like hardcore.
Not as hardcore as you are now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and and so I made this goal. I was going to try to go to at least 2 shows a week, and so I did. I started going, and then in 2022, I had started writing on my old website, old blog, my reviews, just because I wanted to get the word out and share. And so then I found out about Utah Theater Bloggers and applied to write for them, and in 2022. And then so I did that for a couple of years, and then I started my own site. And so that's kind of the evolution, but it became to a point pretty quickly where I was seeing something almost every day. Either I'm either going to a movie screening or a show almost every day.
Sometimes multiple in one day.
Sometimes multiple days. Yeah. Yes. And I did some stats. So the show that you guess, what do you think's the show that I've seen the most?
Ooh,
500 shows.
the show that you've seen the most. Okay. Is it one that you like?
Well, yeah. I mean, it's a little bit of a trick question because the one that I've seen the most is Christmas Carol. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, I've
Okay.
seen it out of those 500 shows. I've seen a Christmas Carol 15 times.
15.
15, yeah, including like Scrooge and I saw
Okay,
Jacob
so
Marley's Christmas Carol, so like some sort of more, I guess, spin-offs.
the world of
Yeah,
Christmas. Yeah, the spin-offs, but that counts. Because I feel
yeah,
like you've also seen wait, what's I know you've seen Into the Woods like
yeah.
several times.
Yes. So I've seen well, it's interesting because I do kind of moan and groan about Into the Woods. And I've seen it, let's see here. I've seen Into the Woods 5 times.
5 times.
Yeah. So like it doesn't seem like that much, but for a show I don't like,
Oh, yeah.
that's kind of a lot. And I moan and groan about Gentleman's Guide. I've also
That's
seen
what
that.
it is.
I've seen that 5 times as well. I've seen The Little Mermaid 5 times, and so these like shows that I don't like that much.
You're like,
I need
please
to
give me
see,
something. How many
but
times have you seen Bright Star?
that's the one that I've seen the most non-Christmas. So
Okay.
I've seen Bright Star 10 times.
But every time.
Every time I love it. Yeah, so I've seen Bright Star 10 times. I've seen and it's interesting because some of these shows, it's just like everybody was doing them all around the same time, but I
Yes.
haven't seen them like I've seen Singing in the Rain 9 times, and that was like the big show in 2023 for Utah theaters. Everyone did Singing
Like,
in
let's
the
do Sing in
Rain.
the Rain.
Yeah. And so most of the times that I saw that were in 2023, but I love that. I think that's one of the best stage to screen screen to stage adaptations that they've
Singing in the
done.
Rain is wonderful.
It's really good and entertaining when they can get the rain right. It's such a triumph for the community theater.
It
And
really is.
yeah, it's really good. So yeah, I've seen Bright Star 10 times, and I had seen it. I technically have seen it 15 times when you could non-pandemic. So I'd seen it a lot before, including the national tour. I mean, it's just a show that I absolutely love. I loved it from the first time I saw it. I just think it has it all. It's
Yeah.
incredibly entertaining in that it has the emotion, it has the romance, it has some lighter moments to to get you through it. And I love the music. I love that.
So the
It's
music
just,
is just gorgeous.
I feel like, I'm not kidding, with Bright Star, I think I could see it once a week and for the rest of my life and never tire of it. That's how much I
Oh,
love
I
it.
like that so much. I love you. You're like, all right, it's my weekly Bright Star viewing.
Yeah, I really could. Uh, yeah, and I've seen Daddy Longlegs 6 times, and that's another one. And I mean, if you count before the pandemic, I've seen it probably 8 times. And that was a show that I absolutely love and adore. And they also, so a Hale, in the other Hale, which is now called the Ruth, they did what they called Hale at Home during the pandemic. So this was in
Oh,
2020. Yeah, and they did Daddy Longlegs as Hale at Home. You could live stream it.
oh, that's
And that
amazing.
was such a comforting thing, and it's a show that means so much to me, and I love it so much. And to, especially like a show that's so intimate, and so because it's only 2 people, that's why they're able to do it,
Yeah.
for Hale at Home. And a show that is about connecting over letters,
Yeah.
and so that felt so meaningful then.
Yeah.
So yeah, so you could say that if you're including Hale at Home, I've seen that 7 times, and I just absolutely love that show. It's so beautiful and such great songs, and it was such an honor to get to interview Paul Gordon, who wrote it.
Well, because you think about how much that work has like enhanced your life and
Yeah.
it affected you. And I think that's so
It's
beautiful to get to interact with those people.
Yeah, it's another show I could watch every week for the rest of my. I could just have like a Mondays is my Bright Star and Tuesdays is my Daddy Longlegs, and I'd be
You're like, here we go. Just put it
fine.
on. I'm ready. Like, get a really good pro shot.
I mean, that's what one unique thing about me is, that I just don't. I handle repetition way better than anybody else that I know.
Yeah.
Like, I just don't get sick of things. If it's something
Yeah.
I love, I really don't. And I if it's something I don't love, then yeah, I get sick of it. I'm like, oh, I got to see this again.
Like, what are we doing?
But
But I think that's like, especially with you being not just a lover of the arts, but also being a critic, is that you're able to watch it from all these different lenses. Like, you can be entertained and you can be moved by it, but also you have your intellectual side that's working when you're watching it.
it's definitely like an interesting thing to go from being a patron to a critic. That's been an interesting transition, because and especially theater is especially hard to be a critic of, because of the personal aspect. Not that people don't put their heart and soul into films. I'm aware that they do, but I don't know. It's just different when the people are literally staring you in the face.
Yeah, I do. I think it's different too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But try it, and I think I've learned a lot, and I think I've become a much better theater critic over the years. And I don't know if I think I'm still probably a better film critic than I am a theater critic, but I do because I think I consider myself more of an advocate in my
Ooh,
theater criticism
yes.
than I do my film criticism.
Yeah.
But when I find a film that I really, really love, then I think I'm sort of more of an advocate. But
Yeah.
those don't happen as much as I would like.
Right,
You know?
exactly. It doesn't affect you in that same way.
Yeah. Well, actually, I sort of feel like, in a weird way, sort of the Hallmark side of things, maybe I'm more of an advocate because those I kind of look at Hallmark movies and TV movies as sort of the underdog of the cinematic world.
Totally. And I think you've developed so many friendships and relationships with people in the space that you're advocating like for your friends.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that's true. Well, so yeah, so Bright Star, Singing in the Rain. I was a little bit surprised that this was my number three, or I guess four, including Christmas Carol. I've actually seen A Christmas Story 8 times.
Really?
Yeah, Christmas Story the music, which I do think is underrated. I
Yeah.
really like the songs, and I mean, I love the movie, so that's probably part of it because it is the movie translated. So if you don't like that movie, you're not going to
Yeah,
like
you're
the
not gonna.
musical. But I don't know. I think the songs are so catchy, and I really like it.
It's interesting too because of like it makes sense that these holiday shows you are seeing multiple times because
Yeah,
if a theater wants to do a holiday show, it's
yeah,
like there's only so many options. So in that slot,
that's true. But and actually, I mean, I think that the screen to stage adaptation of I've never seen The Grinch, so that one. I mean, I saw the pro shot or live stream, whatever thing they did. That was painful. But aside from that, I think these screen to stage adaptations of the Christmas movies have been really solid. I mean, I think Elf is pretty good, entertaining.
yeah,
And then I think White Christmas is excellent. I think it
yeah,
actually is better than the movie.
yeah, which
Hot
totally
take.
makes sense. I feel like it completely lends itself to a stage production.
Yeah. I mean, it's just like because they take out the minstrels number, which is
Thank
all
goodness.
not great, and they just streamline it a little bit, and
Yeah,
I think it's better than the movie. I
yeah.
really do. So that's kind of interesting to see what I've seen. I've seen a lot of shows 7 times. So I've seen Drowsy Chaperone 7 times. I've seen Pride and Prejudice 7 times. I've seen Matilda 7 times. That's a little bit painful. I've seen Music Man 7 times.
So 7 times is Shapoopy,
Yeah,
my least favorite song.
yeah. Um, and so I uh, out of 500 shows, how many different shows do you think I've seen?
Ooh, I think you've seen. I'm bad at math, but let's see if this works. I think you've seen 79 different shows.
No, surprisingly, I've seen 199
Woo!
different shows.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah. So,
100. No, I have a question for you.
uh-huh.
And maybe you don't want to say this, or maybe you don't even remember because that's a lot of shows. Is there one, and not just the play and the performance itself, but is there one experience that stands out as like, oh my gosh, that was the highlight, that was like a fantastic experience, and then one that was like a low?
Well, it's probably the low point was it's ironic because so there was this black box show called Body Positivity. It was this play, and it was ironic because it was the first thing I ever reviewed for Utah Theater Bloggers, and
Yeah.
I'm in general very, very positive. And this play, Body Awareness, sorry, was what it was called, and I really hated this play. It was just not for me, and second of all, it was like insanely hot in this
That's
black
another
box.
thing that changes the experience. If
It
it's
was
hot, it's cold.
and I think and the acting was all solid, but it was about these two lesbians that had this son, and the son was autistic, and they one worked at a school. It's been a long time since I saw this, but they were doing this body positivity thing at the school, And what I really disliked is that they leaned into the, I think, really damaging stereotype, or whatever you want to call it, that that people on the spectrum are sort of dangerous. At one point, he actually attacks a woman, and in the park, and the people with special needs are scary, that we shouldn't. And I know that's not what they intended,
Right.
but they even used the R word like multiple times in a non like in just like their normal conversation, which I think if you had a son or something, you would never do that. And so it just,
They said that in
yeah. And it wasn't like, like sometimes scripts will use
like
profanity to like show the time or show why this is bad,
right, like the kids
or
being bullied at school, and that's why they say that.
yeah, or like a civil rights piece might use the N word
Right.
to show their point, and or to show the particular culture, whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
But like To Kill a Mockingbird, for the bad guys, it's something like that. I understand that, but like that was not the case here, and I just really disliked it. But as far as like a big name, like something that's people would know, um, um I'm so I really I really disliked Puffs. I know that that's like that's one of the only ones that I actually like left at intermission.
What's it called?
Puffs. It's
Oh.
the um it's the
Yes.
Harry Potter parody show.
Yeah.
That kind of humor is just not really for me. And I'm not that big of a Harry Potter person, but I felt like almost all of the jokes were looks like jokes, is what I say. Like it just looks like something that
Mm-hmm.
it looks like something from the movies or books. And I'm like,
Right.
that's not interesting to me. And I didn't think it was funny. I didn't like it. That one's up there. I went to Little Mermaid that was painful. I really hate that adaptation. This one, that might be the worst ever. It was, and I won't even say the theater because I'm not interested in shaming them, but it was painful. It was terrible. And I was just, all the singing was bad. And what was especially strange about this decision is that this production is that they played Ariel as like meek and quiet and almost whispering. And I was in the front row, and even for Part of Your World, I have never ever seen Ariel characterized this way. And so
No.
it was just odd. It was like, it was so strange to have her be like so meek and quiet, even for Part of Your World. And I like, what a weird choice. And the Eric was rough. It was bad. And I was just like, okay. And what is happening? So I was looking at the program on my phone, which is so annoying.
Yeah.
They don't even have a one sheet that you can look at. But I was looking at the program, and he said in the biography, it was like he had just shown up at auditions with his girlfriend, and they were like, "Hey, you want to be in the show?" And so then I was like, "Okay, I understand what's
Totally.
happening
You're like,
here."
what were they like? Hey, you're hot.
Yeah, or just like, you're a man, I guess. I don't know, but
Was the girlfriend in the show?
yeah, I'm not sure if it was Ariel. I can't remember, but yeah, I think his
I would hope
girlfriend was
she would
in
have
the
made a cute
show. Yeah,
your significant other, and you don't get cast, and they do.
yeah. I think that Little Mermaid was the worst thing that I've seen. It was really bad and painful. It was very, very.
So funny. Like shows that are so bad they're almost good because you get to talk about how bad they were later.
Yeah.
Did you have a favorite like theater experience, like one that you were like, oh, out of these 500, this whole experience was epic?
Oh, there's so many. It is hard to go on just one. Um, ooh, that's a tough one.
Or if you've like a top three.
I mean, seeing a really, if if we can, while you're here this summer, there's a great little place called High Valley Arts, and uh, they do outdoor. They have an outdoor theater, and there's
Oh,
such
I love
incredible
that.
productions. This is Midway in the middle of nowhere, and some of my favorite experiences have been these hole in the wall, tiny, places.
Yes.
But uh, but I saw a music band there on 4th of July out in, outside with and so that was,
That's
there were
epic.
fireworks going off, things like that. And that's up there. That's up there for me. I have to say, even though obviously it had its flaws, I would say that Evil Dead the musical at Sanctuary was one of the highlights, because I'll be frank, some of the Sanctuary productions have been rough. They could be on my on my worst of things. I really respect what they're trying to do over there, but it can be, as an audience member, kind of painful.
Yeah.
And I was so proud of them. That was so much better than anything they'd ever done, by like way better. And was just such a, like, you were there. It was such a fun, visceral experience.
It was so
And
visceral. I think we had such a
yeah,
blast together. Like,
yeah,
I remember like screaming and like I felt like I liked feeling the immersiveness of that because the theater is so small. And I just thought it was so fun that we got to do that together. It was great.
yeah. That's up there for sure. The Starlight Express by this Leahona high school is just a teen. It was a teen youth production. Was so incredible. That's definitely up there. They had this track that they built around the seats, so coming down from the stage,
Yes.
up and around, and they were going fast. Woo, woo, woo. And
That's cool.
yeah, that was definitely one of the best, for sure, that I saw.
Yeah, Starlight Express I've never seen in person, but I would love to see that.
Yeah. That was definitely up there for me. And yeah. But getting to see Les Miserables too. I mean, I'd have to put that up there. Just that meant so much to me, seeing that as the first show back.
Yeah. And knowing that it's like, I mean, that's like whatever you believe, like God or the universe, like working in a beautiful way to be like, it's going to be a really meaningful show. The one that you see that is your first one back.
So I did. So I tabulated what were, so including Broadway shows is just like one venue, even though obviously different theaters. Okay.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Right. And so I've been able to do a couple different Broadway trips, but I've seen 107 different companies.
What?
Yeah.
199 different shows and 107 different companies.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, 107 different companies. And I bet, which is the company you think I've seen the most?
Ooh, okay. I definitely think it's a company in Utah.
Yeah.
I'm saying Hale only because they have multiple spaces.
Yeah, see, that's the tricky thing. So I've seen 33 productions at Hale Sandy, and but it is a little unfair because they have two stages.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I've seen 33 shows, and then I've seen at Hale Center Theater Orem / The Ruth, which is their new location, which also has 2 theaters now. I've seen 28 productions there.
Oh wow.
I saw 25 Broadway shows.
Really?
Yes.
I knew you had seen, I would have put it at like 15 or 18.
Yeah. So I've seen, let me see here.
That's incredible.
So I've seen in that time period, of course, over my life, I've seen many more. So I've seen Aladdin, Back to the Future, Beetlejuice, Chicago, Company, Death Becomes Her, Drag the Musical, Elf the musical, Funny Girl, Hadestown, Little Shop of Horrors, Merrily We Roll Along, Music Man, Phantom of the Opera, Rockettes, Christmas Spectacular, The Shark is Broken, Take Me Out, Tina, What a Wonderful World, Almost Famous, Company, Dracula. That was the parody at the
Yes.
Gutenberg, Six, and Waitress.
Oh my gosh. That's an epic slate too. Like they're all very different,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know? Like it's a
Uh-huh.
wide range.
Probably what was say? Yeah, it is a pretty good range. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. My favorite of these. Ooh, that's
Yeah,
tough.
your favorite of the Broadways and your least favorite.
Ooh, well, probably my least favorite is Take Me Out. Um, it has its place and I get it, but it's just not really my thing.
Yeah.
So much nudity.
A lot of
Um,
nudity. Put those phones away, people.
what's that?
Or put those phones away. We had to have them in the
Oh
little
yeah,
shop.
right, yeah. But yeah, also I'm not a big Six person.
Yeah.
I just didn't love it. So
More like a concert.
that would be my second least favorite. My favorite probably out of these, maybe I mean Music Man is probably my favorite, but not this production of Music Man.
Yeah.
So out of these, if I'm doing these productions specific, it's probably Company.
Yeah.
Is probably, or maybe Merrily We Roll Along.
Merrily was so great. I didn't get to see Company, but Merrily was beautiful.
Yeah, and they did the gender swapping Company so well, and it actually makes sense for that story. Like it makes way more sense that a woman in her 30s is getting flack in this day and age
Completely.
for being single. Makes way more sense than for a man.
I totally agree. And I like when they do something like a gender swap, I like if it's something that isn't just to do it, it actually makes sense with the story.
Yeah, like I just finally watched the remake from 1977 of It's a Wonderful Life. And it's such a weird project because it's literally scene for scene exactly the same, except for they gender swapped it. They did nothing, almost nothing different.
Like,
Even the same dialogue, like word for word dialogue. And like it was a tricky thing to know how to review it because it came out in 1977, which was only 3 years after the movie went into the public domain. So I am more forgiving of a shot for shot in 1977 than I would be now.
Absolutely, yeah.
Because they were actually like, you could definitely make an argument that they were resurfacing something that was unappreciated, that wasn't right. But still, to just like Frank Capra at the time said that it felt plagiarized, and I'm like, absolutely, he should feel that, and that's correct, because it's exactly the same, except for they made it Mary Bailey instead of George Bailey, which is just so weird. And anyway, so yeah, this Company, that's the way to do it right, because it actually adds something to the story to have the gender swap.
Exactly. It enhances it in a different way and makes other things pop.
Yeah. And the national tours, so I've seen 21 national tours. So that's basically a Broadway show.
Yeah.
I've seen Bands Visit, Book of Mormon, Dear Evan Hansen, Funny Girl, Girl from the North Country, Hairspray, Hamilton, Kimberly Akimbo, Les Miserables, Life of Pi, Lion King, Mean Girls, MJ the Musical, Moulin Rouge, Peter Pan, Pretty Woman, To Kill a Mockingbird, Wicked, Beetlejuice, and I saw Encanto live. And so, yeah, I think out of those, my favorite, I mean, Les Mis is my favorite, but not that production.
Yeah.
My favorite, that's a hard one. I guess Hamilton is probably my favorite, and I have been able to see. It should be on here. I have seen Hamilton twice, so I don't know why that's not on here twice. I definitely seen it twice. I might have 501.
It might be 501.
Because I've definitely seen Hamilton twice. I went once with my parents, and then I went once last year to when it was here. So I've definitely seen that twice. But anyway,
You're like,
I guess
wait a minute, I
Hamilton.
get this sooner than I thought.
Yeah, I'm not like some insane person about Hamilton, which I totally get it if you are. But
Yeah.
I really did enjoy it and find it quite captivating, and just like such a fresh and exciting way to tell American history.
Yes.
It's they cover so much ground. I think that's like a little underreported about Hamilton, just how much story they pack into.
Story they pack
And then
in.
that is really impressive what they do. And so that's that. And let's see what else. But yeah, so I've seen at Center Point, which is one you didn't get to go, but I really hope you get to see a show there sometime. It
Yes.
is such high quality, incredible. Yeah, it is really good. I've seen 23
Oh my
theater
God.
shows there. I've season tickets to them.
Yeah.
I've seen 20 shows at Pioneer Theater, which is an equity theater we have, which are
Pioneer's great.
really good, really impressive. I've seen 18 shows at Hope Box, which is an awesome theater around here that they have a Hope Box recipient for every show. It's somebody in their community who is fighting cancer, and they give a portion of the proceeds, but also they accept donations for the Hope Box recipient at the show. And I just think it gives all their
really
shows
special.
heart and soul. And even in there, so I just saw Grease there. It was a teen high school edition of Grease. It was all actual students, which I love. And they had a student who's fighting cancer that was their Hope Box recipient, which I just think is so cool for like the students to get to have somebody that they're working for that's one of their peers. Like,
right.
How neat.
And then they feel supported by their community. It's not just the money, feeling that love.
Absolutely. And if you get to go to the Hope Box show on the closing night, which is very, very special, they have the recipient, if possible, they have the recipient there. And they do at the end, they do a little, and it was extra cool for their Drowsy Chaperone, which is also a show I've seen a lot. I think I've seen that 7 times. That for Drowsy Chaperone, they had him sit in the chair.
Yes, that's so cool.
Really,
I love that.
That was really cool. Because I saw Drowsy Chaperone in 2006 in previews. So I was in that. I was onto that show early on. I saw it with Sutton Foster.
Such a fun show.
So I've seen Drowsy Chaperone a lot, and I still think it's funny. It still makes me laugh. Yeah. And so then Draper Historic, which is right here in my hometown. It's such a charming little theater. I've seen 17 shows there.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and then Parker, which you went to.
I love Parker.
Incredible. 17. I've seen 17 there.
With fun little snacks to go with all of them.
Oh my gosh. So they have themed concessions. I love it so much. Yeah. Yeah. So that's the some of the shows that I've seen. And I know some people just look at this as like entertainment, which it is, of course, but to me it's so much more than that. It's about community.
Yeah.
It's about preserving music and dance and storytelling. And as much as I love film, there's just something so raw and beautiful about live performance that I just absolutely love.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And you supporting in this way, I think, means so much to me, just as a lover and doer of theater, but to all the people in theaters you're supporting who went through and continue to go through a hard time because of the pandemic and just because theater's tough. I think you're really making a huge difference in those people's lives by supporting it in this way and uplifting it, not just by you going, but by you amplifying their content.
I try my best, and I really hope that that people, even if they don't see the shows that I see, I hope that they look around and be like, "Oh, maybe I could go to my local theater, live theater. Maybe I could go to a concert. Maybe I could go to something like that and become a patron of the arts because it is such a blessing." And I mean, when I lost my job, I sort of had to consider like, can I do this?
Yeah.
And I've been very, very fortunate that so many people have asked me to review theirs and given me comp tickets. Huge blessing. I'm
Yeah.
so grateful for that. But I was willing to get a part-time job. I like for a while I worked at a movie theater and been working at school pretty
Yeah.
much almost to fund my theater. Like I would
Mhm.
rather get a part-time job than give up going
Exactly.
to theater. And that it just is a beautiful thing and we cannot give it up.
Yes, please. Never again.
No, never again. Never again. And I would just challenge everybody to look around that there's this idea that live theater is a rich person's thing, but I would just challenge you to look around. Free concerts in the park,
Mhm.
almost everywhere there's things like that happening. Look around for community productions that are free to cheap. Go to the high school production in your neighborhood.
Yes.
Support, even if you don't know anybody, who cares?
Yeah.
Go to the high school production, cheer them on, and I think that you'll find some really great gems, and it will benefit your life to support the students. That's been some of the best experiences that I've had. Like I said with Starlight
Exactly.
Express,
Yeah.
things that most high school productions are under $10.
And it means so much to the high
It
schoolers
means
to have you
so
there.
much to them, and so that's what I would encourage everybody to do is to look around for those those local productions and don't be discouraged. Like I mean, I could have been discouraged by this body awareness. My first review for Utah Theater Blogger, like early on, that could have been like, wow, this is so yeah. You have to kiss a lot of frogs to find the prince,
You really
and
do.
you're gonna see some bad stuff, but it's worth it. It's
Yeah.
100% worth it.
Rachel, I'm so proud of you. This was so fun.
Well, thank you so much for doing this. I really appreciate it. And if you're listening, let us know what you think about everything we talked about and what's some great theater that you have seen, and how has this experience since the pandemic been like for you? Just anything that we talked about, let's talk about it. And also make sure you check out on Stage Blog today. We had our post of our reaction to the
Yes.
Tony noms. So definitely take a look at that. And thanks so much, Jax, for doing this. I really
This was
appreciate
so
it.
fun. I can't wait to see some more shows with you.
Yes. And where can people find you and follow you?
Jacqueline Collier on Instagram.
Great. And you can find me at Rachel's Reviews, all over social media, iTunes, YouTube, and at rachelsreviewstheater.com and over on Onstage Blog. Check that out. And thanks so much, everybody. We'll talk to you later. Bye.
Bye. That was so